Washing your car in direct sunlight won't just destroy your paint job, it'll burn your house down and ruin your entire life. At least, that's what a lot of people have been led to believe. And while it's still much better to wash your car in the shade, the truth is, people have been doing it in the sun for decades. Sometimes we have a tough choice to make, either leave your car dirty or wash it in the direct sunlight. Today, I'm going to use my beloved 4Runner to share some tips for washing in the sunshine so that you no longer have to be a slave to the weather forecast. And that paint has been corrected and ceramic coated, so better not screw this up. So here at my house, I have basically two opportunities to wash a car in the shade. And yeah, of course I could wash it in the garage, but I don't really want to for two reasons. Number one, there's usually other vehicles in here that I don't want to get wet. And number two, I just don't feel comfortable soaking this floor if I don't absolutely have to. I think it would be fine, but if I don't need to, I don't. Now, the sun rises over there, so really early in the morning I have a chance where the garage itself is blocking the sun and provides some shade here. And then later on in the day, late afternoon, my big trees up here provide some shade on the lower part of my driveway. Now, I'm a pretty busy guy, and sometimes my schedule will only allow me to wash a car at the wrong time of day, like 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. So here's how I'm able to break the rules and still end up with a clean and shiny vehicle. The 4Runner hadn't exactly been mudding recently, but it certainly wasn't clean either. Before you do anything, check the temperature of the paint. If you can't hold your hand on it for a few seconds without having to pull it off, you really shouldn't be washing your car in the sunshine. You also want to avoid the hottest time of day if possible, so around noon or 1 p.m. There are 3 rules that you have to follow in order for this method to work. Number 1, use the right products. For the wheels, I'm just using regular soap. But a huge reason why I'm able to wash in the sun without getting water spots is because I'm using a rinseless wash. Optimum No Rinse in particular. I mix a capful in with about a gallon of water. I'll be using the Gary Dean wash method by using separate microfiber towels rather than a wash mitt. Finally, I have a separate towel for drying. I'm starting with the wheels because I don't want to get wheel or tire cleaner overspray on the clean paint when I'm scrubbing them. Wheel cleaning is pretty straightforward. Rinse, scrub, rinse. But when you're washing in the sun, there's one extra thing you have to pay attention to. Start with the shady wheels first, since it doesn't matter if they sit with water on them for a while. These wheels have quite a bit of detail on them, so I'm using a couple of brushes and a wash mitt to reach different angles thoroughly. Don't forget the inner fenders. You can clean your other dirty bits as well, like the exhaust tip and trailer hitch area. Now is also a good time to do your door jambs. I try to stay on top of mine, so they really only need a quick rinse. If you spray your pressure washer at the right angle, you shouldn't have to worry about soaking your interior. Just be careful. I noticed my sunny wheels were already starting to dry, so I rinsed them again to keep them wet. Normally when you wash a car, you rinse the whole thing down all at once. Well, this time is different. We're still going to use a pressure washer to spray off most of the heavier dirt before our contact wash to minimize swirls and scratches, but in this case, we're going to break it down into sections. That's rule number 2. Be strategic and plan ahead. Take a second to step back and plan out your next moves in a way that makes sense for your specific vehicle. Also make sure you have your equipment with you and ready to go before you start rinsing. Don't get the surface wet and then run into the garage to find a towel or mix up your wash solution. Preparation is key. It seems counterintuitive, but get your drying towel wet first and wring it out really good. It'll do a better job of absorbing water this way. Since this is a tall SUV and I need a ladder to reach the roof, I'm going to treat it as my first section on its own. The goal here is to break up our working sections to be much more manageable. I know that if I rinse the passenger side of the truck already, it'll dry before I have a chance to actually wash it. So I'm only rinsing the areas I'm about to touch while leaving the other parts dry until I get to them. Of course, you're bound to get some overspray on the adjacent panels, but try to avoid it as much as you can. And time for another rinse on the sunny wheels. Yes, all of this extra rinsing takes more time, but hey, we're washing a dark colored vehicle with black wheels in the direct sunshine. What do you expect? Next up, I'm rinsing the shady side from the driver's door back. That's because I decided to wash the entire front end as a separate section, so I'm leaving the fenders dry for now. Optimum No Rinse actually softens tap water by encapsulating the minerals so you can wipe them off easily instead of leaving them to dry on the surface. Pretty cool stuff. That makes a huge difference in situations like this. I'd have a mess of water spots if I was using a regular soap today. I'm also not using any water filter. Even if you remove the minerals from the water, filtered water can still leave spots behind if it mixes with dirt or dust. So don't think that you can just buy a CR Spotless setup and do whatever you want. They're nice to have, but not a foolproof solution. The concept here is to minimize the amount of time the sunny parts have water on them. So once something is wet, you have to keep it wet, at least until you can get the rinseless wash on it. The way it happens to be working out on this vehicle is that I use a fresh new towel for each working section. After each individual panel, I flip the dirty towel to a clean side. All right, so I've done this section here. I haven't done this front fender. This is going to be a separate piece with the whole front end, the hood and everything. I'm going to spray that separately. But from the driver's door back is now clean and dried all in one shot. You can see it's looking pretty good. We're still dirty over here. We're clean here. We're clean up on the roof. We're working our way around the vehicle in ways that make sense. But you can see it's coming up really good. You might have noticed that I sounded a little out of breath in that last clip, and that brings me to rule number 3. You gotta hustle, baby. If you aren't able to move quickly, then washing in the direct sun might not be for you. This is not an enjoyable, relaxing car wash. We're breaking the rules and pushing the limits to be able to clean our car under conditions that most people wouldn't even dare to try. As soon as you rinse a panel, that water spot clock starts ticking, so every second counts. As I mentioned earlier, a little overspray is inevitable. So I'm going back to the panel I just washed and drying it off again real quick. Onto the front portion of the 4Runner, and now that we're starting to work on the sunny side, we really need to ramp up our speed. Also notice how I'm spraying the windshield towards the direction of the section that I haven't washed yet, so I'm not making a mess for myself that I'll have to deal with on the area that I've already cleaned. Then I'm stopping at the passenger door because that'll be the start of my final section. Normally, we always want to wash from the top down, right? This is a bit of an exception because I'm saving the windshield for last. That's because glass is harder to scratch, so if my towel has some dirt on it from the paint, it's not the end of the world versus the other way around. Also, I'd rather accidentally end up with water spots on my glass rather than my paint because remember, this thing is ceramic coated. I can easily use stronger chemicals or even polish the glass if I need to, but I don't want to do that to the paint if I can avoid it. Also, fun fact, I just hurt my back at the gym the day before this, so if I can do this process, anyone can. No excuses. Notice how I'm reversing the order that I washed this section in now? I started on the shady side and finished on the sunny side, but now I'm immediately drying the sunny side while I'm still there. The shade buys me a little bit of time before I need to dry it. This comes back once again to rule number 2. Be strategic with how you work. I'm just using a ceramic spray sealant as a drying aid, but you can use a dedicated drying aid or a spray wax, whatever you want. Check out the difference between the wash panel and the dirty panel. Alright, now for the final section, and it happens to be the one that's in the worst sunshine. But here's the thing. While we've been busy washing the entire rest of the vehicle, this has stayed dry for the most part. So the sun hasn't had a chance to bake any water spots onto the paint yet. And now when we spray it, we'll be immediately following up with washing and drying while it's still wet. Any overspray we might have will be on the adjacent panels that are clean, which means we can quickly dry those spots off right away. I actually made a judgment call and decided to split this part in two since the sun was getting pretty hot at this point and I was starting to slow down. Did you catch it? I missed a spot. On purpose though. Now I'm going to show you what you have to do if you do get in this situation and the rinseless wash dries on the paint. All right, now what do we do if this dries on the surface like this? Number one, don't panic, it's all good. So this is why we're using a rinseless wash. When this dries, you can just reactivate it. And this is also why we always keep a spray bottle on hand that's mixed up either in the same dilution or as a quick detailer. And all you have to do is just wet it again, and that's going to reactivate it. And then we'll take our same drying towel that we were just using, and it's kind of like respawning in a video game. You get a second chance. And you can see all of those water spots are gone. There's nothing left. And if you really want to be extra cautious, you can hit this specific spot that you missed with your spray sealant just to make sure that it's protected the same as the rest of the vehicle. So, worst case Ontario, if it dries on the surface, it's not the end of the world. It's that easy to fix. finally, we can dry the wheels once and for all with the same method we used on the paint, since these are ceramic coated too. Make sure to use a different towel though. Anything that touches your wheels needs to be kept separate from your paint. I suppose we could have dried these off immediately after washing them and saved ourselves the hassle of keeping them wet, but with the amount of pressure washing we did, they were bound to get wet again anyways. But it's up to you how you decide to handle it. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people typing out comments saying, if you wash your car in the sun, you're a hack, you don't know what you're talking about. And I get it, that's fine. If this isn't for you, that's totally cool. However, let's take a look at the results here, because to me, this thing looks pretty awesome. Now, what are we trying to avoid when we're washing in the sun? The main thing is, did we get it clean? Well, you tell me, does this look clean to you? It looks pretty clean and shiny to me. And the next issue is, did it leave behind a whole bunch of water spots that everybody seems to think as soon as you use tap water in the sunshine, you get water spots? Well, let's look in the sun. I don't see any water spots. It actually looks pretty awesome. And lastly, did we scratch the paint by doing this? Well, once again, the sunshine does not lie. And I did a paint correction and ceramic coating on this thing probably about 5 years ago. So it's safe to say that I take washing this thing safely pretty seriously, because I don't want to undo that work and I want to keep this thing looking as good as possible for as long as possible. It might not look freshly polished, but it's not covered in swirl marks and scratches either. So I think that proves that this is a pretty safe method for washing your vehicle. So if you're caught in the sunshine and you're trying to decide whether you just leave it dirty or you wash it anyways, this one's for you guys. And because I'm a pretty boy, I added some tire shine as the cherry on top. I'm not a fan of shiny tires, but they should look dark black and not faded gray. The little details make a big difference. All in all, this took me almost 2 hours, which is way too long, but when you factor in filming this video, it's probably closer to about an hour, which is fine. Now, if you're not a fan of rinseless wash products, I get it. If you want to stick with a traditional soap, I would use something like Lithium Double Tap here. This stuff is advertised to not leave much of a residue behind, unlike a lot of other soaps. I still prefer a rinseless wash in the direct sunshine though. So is washing in the sunshine as easy as washing in the shade? No. Honestly, I much prefer to work in the shade still, or at least on a cloudy day if I'm outdoors. But can you do it without leaving soap residue and harmful water spots behind on your paint? Absolutely. And if you disagree with me, that's cool. Keep washing however you want. I'm just showing what worked for me. And I proved in this video that it worked for me. You saw the results, but this might not be possible for everybody. If you did enjoy these tips though, you'll love my weekly newsletter where I share all kinds of stuff just like this. So go ahead, hit the link below to sign up for that. And if you're a fan of breaking the rules like this and you want to try washing your car with no hose at all, watch this video next.